I know, man.
Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now.
Let's get into your next appearance in the octagon, man. UFC 294. You're getting on that big old plane and flying across the big pond and fighting. How do you feel about that? The anticipation of that, going abroad.
I'm a little like nervous about the flight. Not from like worried about it crashing or anything, man. It's just a long time to be up in the air. I get pretty antsy and got to move. But I mean, it's really been my first experience going outside the country. We went down to Tijuana for half a day here few last week to get some stem cells. But really and truly, this will be my first time ever experiencing anything other than America. So I mean, I'm excited for that, and just can't believe they're putting me on such a big card, man. That's an honor. I mean, that's people fight their entire careers and never get on a card like that. And as of right now, the lineup looks like I'm the feature fight. So I don't know on the prelims. So we'll see, man. At that point, the world's tuned in. So I'm pretty pumped up, pretty excited.
For sure, man. Well, you established yourself with your performances, right? Especially your debut, where you just went in there and just blew people's doors off, right? Yeah, you literally, hammered some doors down. You know what I mean? And everybody's like just really, really hyped about what you're able to do. And I feel like the UFC saw that, and that's why they put you on this card.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I definitely think they know that they're going to get an entertaining fight for sure. I mean, I'll go out on my shield and everything, but also, that Mohammad Yahya, I reckon, to my knowledge, he's the first guy from UAE to ever fight in the UFC. So I mean, it's going to be a big deal for him and their country. But I mean, it's sucks for him still.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like I was talking to somebody the other day, and they was like, "Yeah, He's also gonna be the first guy to ever, take a canvas snap from there too." And I was like, "Yeah, I know."
So when you look at Yaya, right, he's coming in, making his debut. Looks like he's pretty tested, in that area. Now he's going to the global stage. What do you see in him and in his style?
He's got some things that he does really tricky. He's got some tough reads that he gives and everything, man. But like it's I've been grinding it out, man. I mean, I've been busting my tail since that last fight. So I expect to go in there and get the job done and handle my business the way I expect to. But I would look a lot different than the way I've been looking, man. I mean, I've really busted my tail and tried changing some things, but stylistically, man, it's a good matchup. I mean, I'm pressure forward, heavy hands, and he's more of a back foot counter fighter, wait for the person to overextend and then capitalize. But I'm just not going to give him that point to capitalize.
When you see opponent like put their back against the fence and try to play that game against you, how do you perceive that?
Ain't good, not for them. As soon as I see it, I'm like, I just start licking my chops, man. I know what kind of fight I'm about to bring whenever I see somebody get on their back foot, man. So I'm just, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier you went to Tijuana to get stem cells. Was that for you?
Oh yeah, yeah, man. I've had several injuries, that has really, really like held me back for a while now, and I'm hoping these things are going to fix me. I mean, I'm feeling much better, but even that last camp, man, I mean, I pretty much had to run and swim for, several weeks. I didn't get to spar till we was 3 weeks out because I just had so much going on. I didn't really get to roll and everything, but I mean, but I think they're going to help me out a good bit, man. So I'm just hoping I can get in there and feel close to 100% because it's been a minute since I've got in there and felt just great.
Yeah, stem cells, man. It's a miracle, like medicine. I guess that's what it's called. But yeah, a lot of people get it, and yeah, a lot of people feel phenomenal afterwards. So hopefully, man, I'm hoping for you to get fully healed. You know what I mean, with the stem cells. Um, you're also in Vegas too, man. Were you out there for your teammate, or were you just out there for yourself?
I actually, yeah, my teammate Torres Finney, he's fighting on Dana White's Contender Series next month and everything. And I went out there to do promo videos with him, and also I knew I'd be able to go over to Extreme Couture and get some really good rounds in. So kind of made, just got killed two birds with one stone. I got some training in and went out there and supported him, and I had to do a little media myself for his fight, and then. But yeah, man, we're going to be going back out there here in a few weeks, and I'm going to spend, pretty much my last week of hard sparring. I'll be able to go over there and get some rounds in with them guys, man. I got some rounds in with old Marvin Vettori, and dude, that guy's a freaking stud. That was some tough rounds, but that's what makes you grow, man. So I'm looking forward to getting out there and getting pushed a little bit before this fight.
Sure, and what a beast Torres is, man. People don't know yet, but they're gonna find out, right?
I know, man. I don't know yet. They really don't know yet. We'll be out in public or something, man. And we go out all the time, and he's always with me. And since I've had this contract for a year now, he's taken many pictures for people coming up wanting to take pictures of with me, and I always tell him, I said, what I love so much about this, and he's like, what? And I'm like, they've got potentially like a future UFC world champ sitting there taking a picture of, but they don't even know that you're fixing to be in the UFC. It's been pretty neat, but I'm ready for us to both be out there, and oh my God, man, we seen y'all fight, and really and truly the whole thing's gonna get funner for me when me and that boy get on cards and put the Southeast on the map here and tear everything up. So it's just gonna be even funner, man, even funner.
Yeah, and you guys are putting Agogi combatives on the map. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are putting that gym out there for everybody to understand. Like, hey, there's some legit guys on that team. And yeah, Torres is gonna do his thing. Back to you, man. It seemed like every time you get an opponent, especially in the UFC, your every fight, you've never had your original opponent.
I know, man.
How does that affect you, man? Like, I've been talking to this with a lot of fighters, and it's just like it's hard to like focus on a particular opponent when a lot of times it's just gonna pull out or something's gonna happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, man. It is. It's frustrating. I mean, it's definitely frustrating. I had that fight with Victor Martinez lined up the whole time, and that really, I mean, the type of fight I thought he was going to give me with the training camp that I had to put in from the injuries, I mentioned I had to swim and stuff. Like, I still felt like that fight was going to be, in my favor because of the way the styles matched up. And then, they switched it to Chepe, and I was like, oh, man, just the styles. If, his judo was real good, his hips was good, and there was just certain things that, I wasn't ready for. And I definitely 100% want that one back one of these days. But it's frustrating, man, but you just kind of got to take it with a grain of salt and go on. There's so many other fighters in the organization that's constantly having to do the same thing. So it's just, I ain't going through anything anybody else ain't going to. But it would be nice to just go through a whole camp and let's fight that guy. It would be nice.
It would be nice. And yeah, it looks like this guy, he's making his debut. I don't think he's gonna be pulling out, especially at home in UAE. Like,
yeah,
he's not going to. He'd get a lot of hate. He'd get a lot of flack from his own people, I think, if he pulled out. So
yeah,
and he's fighting you. And if anybody knows about fighting, that's a crazy fight, crazy matchup. I also saw you ran into Bryce Mitchell, man. What was that like?
Oh, we're the same. It seems like we grew up right down the road from each other as far as, a lot of the same mentality, certain beliefs and everything. And, we hung out for probably a little over an hour, man, and just, shot the crap and hunt and just talked. And he said, "Where are you from, man?" And I started trying to kind of tell him where I was from. And he said, "Well, it can't be too far, man. We sound just alike." And I was like, "Yeah, I know." But I reckon, man, hopefully one of these days, I kind of pressed for time right now, but, I'm wanting to take a trip out to Arkansas. And he actually told me that he has a friend that lives here in Chattanooga, and he often comes down and hunts and fishes and stuff with them. So, maybe we can get together and, get some training in here in the future. I hope so. He's got some things that he does well that I'd like to learn, and I got some things that I think he'd like to learn. So I think we could benefit from each other.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. And going back to
Did you
the
say the freedom? Did you say all
yeah, 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 yeah.
the
He's getting a lot. He's getting a lot of attention for that. He's getting a lot of
yeah.
attention, which is good, man. That's what you want in this game. You want attention,
Yeah,
and
man.
you
He
want the
shared,
eyeballs.
yes, sir. He shared some of his testimony with me and everything, and that was pretty cool to hear, So I was glad I got to meet him.
Yeah, without that. And I wanted to go back to the last fight. There was a lot of circumstances surrounding that fight, leading up to the fight you just explained to us, and you suffered your first loss as a professional.
Hmm.
You had a no contest, but this is actually a legit loss. Like, how did that impact you afterwards? Did you step back and say you looked at it from like a neutral perspective and said, I was going through this stuff. The performance most likely wasn't going to be the best.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that I tried to beat myself up about. I should have trained harder, and every time I do that, I'm like, man, I was pushing my limits as it was. I mean, I really and truly, what I wanted to pull at one point. I was just dealing with so much, so I was just hurting so bad, man, and couldn't do anything. But I'm sorry. What was the question again? Check the. Oh yeah, the loss. Sorry. Yeah, man, it was tough, not necessarily the loss. I don't guess I just got upset for my team really because man, I really do believe in Agogi. I believe in all my coaches. I believe in my team. I really do, man. And that was the biggest struggle for me was listening and seeing the comments talking about my team. Like I can handle it about me, you know what I mean? But like it's just I know I'm in a good place and I know I'm where I'm supposed to be and I know the things I can accomplish here. Really I do. But seeing that kind of stuff bothered me, And then really, man, I felt like it was the first loss I'd ever had. Really, I mean, in my amateur career, I mean, I lost one fight. From a rear naked choke, but man, I didn't even train during that time, and I couldn't punch on the ground with that rule set. Like, I mean, to the face, anyways. And I was a street fighter with a right hand, and I mean, I can't get him on the ground. It's like, okay, I can punch him in the stomach. You know what I mean? And then, like, there was another loss on my Miami career was a split decision, and I really felt like I'd won that fight. So I felt like it was my first loss ever, man. So, I handled it the best I could, and I've gotten through it. But, it ate at me for a little bit. But just like I said, mainly the circumstances around it with my team and stuff, not necessarily per se the loss, because I know I can beat that guy.
I think MMA is different, is where you can lose and it's not going to be the end of your career compared to like certain other combat sports, right? Where you like the perfect record means so much, right? You look at the legends of the sport. Rarely they have a perfect record, right? They have a couple losses because they need the losses
Yeah,
to elevate themselves, right? You need the roadblocks.
yeah, I agree, man. That's like I mean, like I said, up until that point, I had felt like I ain't never really lost. So I mean, it's kind of hard to change if you're wrecking everybody, man. I mean, I'm pretty much I've walked through so many people being wild and crazy in the octagon. You know what I mean? So it's like up until Chepe, man, nobody had really been able to, you know, dial it in and put a stop to the chaos. So if you're winning, why change? If it ain't broken, don't fix it. So, I learned a lot though, man. I learned more. I really do. I truly believe that that loss will be probably as beneficial as any win I'll ever have on my career, just because I got to see how effective some of the things that happened in there that night were. His little shots, his timing. I was overextending. I was pulling back too far, and I'd heard this a long time ago. It's the space between the notes that make the music. And I kind of felt that night, man. It was the little bitty things, the little movements he did in between the big chaos that really shined for him, and how composed he was. And really, man, I knew I was in for a rough. And when before the fight, I started seeing like all these famous fighters and all these people that's been in the game for a very, very long time, like making all these posts about Chepe, and there's like, he's so deserving of this. This guy's been around, blah blah blah. And I was like, oh man, I'm fighting a legend, and nobody even know it really.
Yeah,
And sparring,
in your debut.
dude, what now? Sorry,
Go ahead, go ahead.
I was saying, and him sparring with Justin Gaethje for weeks and
Yeah.
weeks and weeks beforehand. That probably didn't help me at all. If I could pick an individual to like bring in and spar like me, it'd be Justin Gaethje.
It, under the circumstances, man, it's understandable to me, man, that you didn't perform the way you wanted to perform, man. What can you do? But you made it to the show, man. You didn't pull out.
Yeah.
Respect to that.
Yeah,
and
5 pounds lighter than what I've been being too, man. I don't know if it was just I had a pretty bad weight cut, and then I don't know if anybody's ever woke up and fought, but that sucks, man. I'm used to fighting main event late in the evening, and heck, I had to fight at like 10:30 in the morning, or well, it was about 11 or 12, and that sucked, man. I started my weight cut heavier than I've been the past 3 times, and I was 5 pounds lighter when I got in the cage than I've been the past 3 times. I don't know, just poor hydration and stuff, but I don't know. It is what it is.
Will you be fighting in the morning in Abu Dhabi? Is that what the schedule is?
Oh no, man! I'll be fighting late at night. It's gonna feel a lot more like what I'm used to. I mean, it's gonna be I think prelims start at 11 here, so I'm gonna be fighting probably around 7:30, 8:30 p.m. out there. So I'm gonna have an extra 8-9 hours to get rehydrated. So I'm excited.
There you go, man. Yeah, man. So what are your expectations, man? Like, I feel like you felt like every level of like reaction to your fights. You know what I mean? You felt like the highest of highs in your debut, right? People were going nuts. The highlights were everywhere. You're probably getting messages from people sharing and posting. Your second fight, not so great. So you're getting hate for your team and all that. You felt all that stuff, right? So you've gone through it already. I think it's going to be a great learning lesson, those types of things. Now you go into your third fight, enemy territory.
I'm with it.
What do you expect?
I'm with it, man. I love it. I love the daggum chaos, man. I mean, I have been fortunate enough that when I do go into the chaos, I've been able to take my chaos with me, and they usually follow me, man. But I don't think they're all gonna load up and fly over to Abu Dhabi, so it'll probably feel a little lonely in there, man. But I'm so here for it. I really am. I'm here for the madness. I'm here to upset people and hear the boos.
Make the madness your moment.
That's it,
basically.
Man. That's it.
There you go. One last thing, man. Of course, the main event, man, on that card on the pay-per-view is the rematch between Charles Oliveira and Islam Makhachev. Do you see the same result?
I kind of.
Oh, you going for the chaos? You're going for the chaos.
Man, I kind of think Oliveira's gonna come in there with a chip on his shoulder, man. I think he's gonna come in there and be violent. He looked like the old Oliveira whenever he's in there his pastime, in his head, nervous, that little bit of timid streak in there. But I don't think it's gonna be like that this time, man. I think it's gonna be a good fight. I hope it is, because I'm gonna stay there and watch it. I'm hoping it's a great fight. And I'm going to get to be in there with all them guys. That's so crazy to me, man. It's so wild.
Imagine the weigh-ins, you know what I mean? The live weigh-ins, all of that, so you get to soak it all up.
I'm so here for it, man. So here for it.
Awesome, man. I'm happy for you, Trevor, man, that you're getting these opportunities, man. And this is crazy, man. Going to Abu Dhabi, flying over there and fighting for the world. Thank you so much, man, for the time. All the best in the fight, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. I always enjoy it.